Yes, thank you very much. Can we do some traditional, is it traditional medicine? Can we start? Eh, Dr. Anyona, please come. Can we start? Can we start? We do some, this one we can do that, and then that, and down. And for those of you who are at home, you may be seated. Thank you. Those of you who are following us online, thank you very much for keeping it on. We are doing very well. So we go to the next session that is going to be led by Dr. Micah Anyona. All these people are NUPSA chairman. How come? All of them are NUPSA chairman. I only want to advise or request those who come, please remember we have a bigger audience online. And you see the way I'm standing behind the mic? Please do that. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you, Dr. Moses. Yeah, I served as an NUPSA chair while in my 4th year, but before that, I was actually a class rep. Maybe it was a way of campaigning to be the chair. But I have my classmate here, Dr. Eva Maina. Actually, I beat her in the PSK elections, but she really assisted me as well in my leadership. So in this panel discussion, unfortunately, we do not have the video for the 50-year journey look back. However, we do have 5 panelists whom I would like to invite to the podium, to the stage. Dr. Sami, Dr. Samuel, and Dr. Ogaja, who are here physically. We do have 2 online panelists, Lucy Ochola and Dr. Eunice Karaoke. So as they come on board, and maybe I won't have another chance to introduce myself, I finished or I cleared my undergraduate in 2003, graduated in 2004. Worked for government sector for quite a number of years, starting as a district pharmacist down in Rachonyo district. Later on joined the National AIDS and STIs program, working from KEMSA for almost 10 years, where we really played a big role as pharmacists in expanding access to antiretroviral medicines in Kenya, where in fact the HIV program in Kenya is among the 4th largest in the world. Later on, I got posted, as usual in government, you have to rotate. I went to the National Vaccines Immunization Program briefly before transitioning to Mathare National Teaching and Referral Hospital, where I got a chance to pursue my further studies in health economics and policy before exiting on unpaid leave to the NGO world, joining John Hopkins program led by Japaigo, where I've been working for the last 8 years. So, sorry. Yes, yeah, so I think my journey in pharmacy has been long, and what I will say is I think pharmacists they excel in what they do. And having worked at NASCOP, I used to work with so many district pharmacists, hospital pharmacists. Even where I work currently, I work with probably over 50 pharmacists. Though we work in 6 counties, I work closely with pharmacists in the regulation, PPB at MOH, DHPT, Dr. Menge and his staff. Mombasa County, the county director there is a pharmacist, Dr. Anif. NASCOP, my contact person there, Dr. Imbuki, is also a pharmacist. These are people who really make your work easier. Pharmacists are never known to complicate things. So I really admire the support I receive as I work through my role at Japaigo, where sadly my contract ends soon, the stop work order of Trump, but I'm sure the opportunities for pharmacists are still there. So let me stop there and transition to my panelists here, starting with yes.
I'm just saying that I wish to confirm to the audience that although today we do not have the video and the photos, the throwback session, that is being compiled and it will be presented to you during the gala dinner that we have organized for 1st of August this year. So there will be no gap in documentation. Thank you.
Okay, so to the panelists, because we do have the online, two of them, as well as the physical three, so we'll be having one physical session and then we translate to the online one, so we'll be combining. Let me give this first opportunity to Dr. Sami to introduce himself. He's a pharmacist who graduated in 1992, has worked in a number of multinationals, and now running his community practice since 2003. To start us off with his memory down lane. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity to be on this panel. And like he said, I'm Sami Doita. I worked in basically one multinational that transitioned into several companies thereafter. As I mentioned yesterday, my first employer, my first boss is none other than Dr. Moses Mwangi. And I must say that I had a good mentor and who helped me get into that space. And like he was, of course, and I said yesterday, the father of the vaccine business in this country, he mentored us into what we became thereafter. And interestingly, after working through that area, that space of the multinationals, I transitioned into community pharmacy. And again, I followed his footsteps. Like I said, he handed over a shop to me that has given birth to many other shops today. As I said, just quickly because of the time issues, I joined the university in 1987. The class that was a double intake because of the many issues that were happening those days of strikes and all that. So we came in as the year that finished in 1985 and the one that finished in 1986. We were the double intake. And it was a big class, but thank God that Professor Guantai and the rest of the teaching staff were able to handle us. So it was a challenging time, but we did manage. I don't think I have too many memories about Chiromo, but it was an interesting time at that point. All that I can remember in that time is the kind of wonderful teachers that we had. We had some that were just like walking textbooks, and like Professor Kibwage said, you cannot forget Professor Maina. Never carried any notes to class. We also had a Dr. H. We called him Dr. H.W.W. Oyuga. Those two were just walking textbooks. They carried nothing, and they spoke through 1 hour with absolutely nothing in class, and they were just amazing. There was one interesting one that I can never forget, Dr. Mogo, who, because of our background, where we came from, some of us from the village, and our accents were not so polished. And he would not allow you to be pronouncing some names the way you want to pronounce them. And one of my classmates did talk about my mitochondria in a certain And he responded, which Harambe High School did you come from? So that was Chiroma for us, and I think it was interesting. Coming to up here in medical school, we came in here, we were welcomed by guns. There happened to be the day we reported here, there was a robbery, either in Upper Hill or in town, and those thugs drove all the way to the main parking of Kenyatta. And so when we're doing there some registration, the next thing is guns flying all over the place, and we were all going under the tables, and that's how we were inducted into the medical school. And we wondered, is this a high security? That was how we joined the med school with guns flying all over the place. But this was a wonderful school. Med school for those third year, fourth year was a wonderful school. Wonderful teachers that we really had, and I can never thank enough the teachers that we had. I will just say that at one point I had a challenge, and I'll never forget Professor Gwantai speaking to me directly and encouraging me that you will get there. And for me, that was something that I will never forget. She may not never even remember that, and I know we have a good relationship, and so that was the thing. But the other thing I will remember in med school is our year was the first one to be introduced to clinical pharmacy. When Professor Demo and later on Dr. Dhuo, who came from the US, wanted to introduce clinical pharmacy, we were the first class that actually went in to start being taught clinical pharmacy actively. But the shock is, of course, we were told we need to go to the wards, joining our medic colleagues. Dr. Kimodo, if you can remember, when we went in there, the shock for us was how doctors are harassed by the seniors. You know, the registrars. And you know, for us, we couldn't really understand how you can go shouting at registrars. These are doctors. And of course, you don't even know about the undergraduates. They are seriously. And I can tell you, Dr. Kimodo can confirm, we did not do that for long. We ran away from the wards. We couldn't continue in the wards. So that's what I can remember with our younger days.
So, Dr. thank you so much. Then, if you didn't study pharmacy, what would you be now?
My passion from my first year in high school was to be an architect. And I studied, I would have been an architect until I reached Form 4, and I had a really serious crush with my physics teacher. And from there, I dropped that. I continued to do a subject I loved so much, technical drawing, and I was actually the top student in Form 4. So I would have been an architect until that physics teacher.
Thank you so much, Dr. Then what has been your inspiration to continue practicing pharmacy, and what do you think we can do to expand the opportunities for the young pharmacists in Kenya?
I see, especially in the community pharmacy, we are able to really impact patients so directly. The fact that we are so accessible, the fact that many people choose to come to a pharmacy for consultation, and with good evidence, with good training, with good information to our population, our people, pharmacy, we have such an impact at the community pharmacy level. And so for me, when I speak and I see the kind of impact that we have to our people, for me, that really encourages me to do. I mean, and I tell my staff, we are not driven here by money issues. We want to change lives of our people. I can tell you, like during the COVID season, we did a lot. You know, people are avoiding going to the hospitals, and they came to the pharmacy. And I can tell you, I was getting calls from people from all over this country and even outside this country. I don't know how the word went out that we are offering a service that was helping the people. And for me, that has been a major motivation, just being able to change lives of our people. For the young population, for our young people, just like Dr. Ekunda said yesterday, I know the pharmacy space has really shrunk, especially because multinationals have become very few now in our setting. For us, it was easy to be absorbed in multinational. There were so many, they were open for us. But now that space is not really very, very big. It's shrunk. I think for you, like Dr. Ikuda said yesterday, we need to look at the online space. And you can start from like what she said yesterday, in the area of cosmetics, the beauty world, the supplement and all that, and grow it where you can, and I know it's going to become more accessible, where medicines can also be are availed through the online space. I think our traditional pharmacies, like what we are running today, is going to become more and more irrelevant. And so the online, you guys are online people and you're the future. So I think you need to start exploring how you can reach the people that space. So don't say like Kikuda said yesterday, there are no jobs. You can be able to look at that space and grow it because it's where we are growing. I can tell you, and I'm sure Daktari there who is just come to me today, the normal customers who come to our shops are not growing, they are declining, but we can only grow the online customer. So I think for the young people, that you are very good at that, you take advantage of that.
Thank you so much, Daktari. Let's give him a clap. So we'd like to get to the next panelist who is online, Dr. Lucy Ochola. Kindly unmute your speaker so that you can get onto the discussions. Dr. Lucy Ochola is a clinical pharmacist who graduated from University of Nairobi in 2013 and further in 2018 after a master's in clinical pharmacy. She's currently based at Machakos Referral Hospital with over 8 years of practicing clinical pharmacy. She has passion in antimicrobial stewardship, mentorship, and research, both at county and national level. She has undertaken different research projects on the same areas and also advising on policy and implementational change at national and facility level. She's a published researcher in oncology, pharmacy, a part-time lecturer, online lecturer, and an antimicrobial steward with the aim of advancing medication optimization. So let's welcome Dr. Lucy Ochola from Machakos.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, Daktari, you can proceed.
Yes. Thank you, Daktari. Thank you very much. I hope everyone is doing well. Sorry I was unable to attend due to some health challenges, but I am very honored to be given this platform to share in the journey of the School of Pharmacy and be part of the team that commemorates the 50 years that it has produced very wonderful and excellent professionals in this country. So I know we're meant to give a brief on how our journey has been so far, and I represent the cohort that graduated in the year 2010s. So what I recall fervently about the University of Nairobi School of Pharmacy is that one, the lecturers were always available, always reliable, always dependable. I believe that still stands to date, and they were able to pick us out in terms of even with the numbers, because the numbers kept on increasing as the years went by, but even though the numbers kept on increasing, there's a way you sort of felt there was an individual level of attention that you were accorded, and they were able to pinpoint what your areas of strengths and weaknesses were. And this is something that I personally have held it to heart because it has driven me in my professional path and in my career, because you always know that you can rely upon. And I would refer to what Dr. Ituta has already said, those kind words from the lecturers, the motivation that they give you, not only in your professional life, but also sometimes in your personal life, have really gone a long way into realizing it. And somehow these teachers don't forget us. I wonder what kind of memory they tend to have, but through the years, they still recall us by name. Sometimes they may forget a few, but they do remember us. And I think it's just been an impactful place, which has built a very strong community. And even as you look at the level of graduates that it produces, I can truly say you cannot compare that with any other institution that I have seen. Working in the public sector, I tend to oversee and mentor a lot of interns. And there is a way a graduate from the School of University, the School of Pharmacy from Nairobi University will speak, and you will just know who you knew UoN. they just stand out. I don't know what is unique about them, but you can tell not only by their content, but also by their character and how they articulate themselves. So I think it's been a remarkable institution, and would I do it all over again? Most definitely I would.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yeah, so maybe we'll come later to you with your parting shots. So for now, we'd like to transition to the physical panelist here, Dr. Samuel Nyariki, to introduce himself and also cover his discussion area. Thank you.
I am very grateful to stand here in front of my colleagues, pharmacists, celebrating 50 years since pharmacy started in the University of Nairobi. I, Dr. Samuel Nyariki, went to or joined the University of Nairobi in 1974 as a pioneer class where Professor Guantai, Professor Kokwaro, Dr. Elizabeth Ochieng, Sorominde, Ogaja, Dr. Esther Itotia is around. Esther Itotia. Of course, Deborah is around. Deborah, we have had so many challenges together. I think there are a number of my former classmates who are in very prime positions in this country. Some who have been even in politics, like Dr. Murungaru, Dr. Rashid Aman, you know, Dr. Philip Nandi, you know, Dr. Indalo, who has been a lecturer or is still a lecturer at the School of Medicine. Is she here? Ah, wonderful. I'm sorry, my eyes are not very clear, but I have a challenge with my eyes currently. Allow me to talk for a little longer than the younger people who have been around because I have a lot to say. I will try to limit it so that I do not bore anybody. I would like to start that I am among the few pharmacists who were chosen from very long time back. Before I came to the School of Pharmacy, I had already been chosen. How was I chosen? When I was a small boy in 1962, when my grandmother had a problem, she had been hit on the head. I don't know by who. I hope not my grandfather because I never saw him. But there is a time when she needed an operation. So in 1962, my grandmother was being operated in Kisii by a mzee who was using glass cuts as knives. The traditional Kisii head surgeons were great. They did their work. I managed to witness my grandmother being operated in 1962. I was about 10 years. What I saw made me feel there is something here which I would like to learn later. So what did I do? I sat there, they operated, they opened the wound, they put in a lot of herbs, and they did not dress the wound. They did not cover it. They just put the herbs. And every time I used to take her food, I could observe there is leaking some liquid from around there. So eventually my grandmother healed, and there was a depression in the site of the operation. There was no noise when my grandmother was healing. So anybody who is treating, the neurosurgeons will tell you, if you want to save the patient who has been operated in such a way, they don't need any banging noises around. That passed. In 1963, when I was in class 4, some people called me doctor. I asked why. because I skipped over them when they were trying to corner me, and I ran to the hill and I flew over them. They called me Dr. Jiga. So my name, Dr. Nyariki, started in 1963. So I am coming on. I will be, eventually I will be the
Thank you, Daktari.
Yes.
As you reminisce on your journey, what has been your experience so far in terms of practicing pharmacy in Kenya? We want to quicken the speech because of time. Thank you.
I have so much to say.
Networking.
I have so much to say. Please allow me to say a little more then. I can run quickly. In 1973, Professor Mungai came to Alliance High School. He was looking for any students who have applied to do pharmacy in England, and I was among the 6 who had applied. Because Professor Mungai had prior information that the School of Pharmacy was to start in 1974, he asked us to quickly take new career forms and apply to do pharmacy in bracket. That is School of Medicine, Pharmacy in bracket. So that's how I landed in the University of Nairobi Pharmacy with the information that I was coming to study pharmacy in 1974. I did my pharmacy B.Pharm in 1974 to 78. When I was in the university, I had a twin career kind of arrangement. And that twin career was, I was a good student in pharmacy and a good athlete. I did athletics at Cardinal Otunga High School, at Alliance High School, but in the University of Nairobi, I got 2 gold medals, 75, represented Kenya in the World University Games in 1977 in Bulgaria. Came back and represented Kenya in the All Africa University Games here in Nairobi, and I got a gold medal in 5,000 meters. I went to Mexico in 1979 and represented Kenya in the World University Games, and I got this bronze medal. You can see. This one was in 10,000 meters, a race I had never run before. I was particularly happy that I won a bronze medal in Mexico because I was the only African who won a medal in the track events in Mexico in 1979. So if you look at the medal list of the winners of medals in the World University Games in 1979, you will see my name down there from Kenya. I was the only African. Now, I came to do that particular race in Mexico when I was called from Muranga Hospital. So I'm coming to practice very soon. I had a bit of third issue that I was involved in while I was a student. I was a good singer, 1970, at Cardinal Otunga High School. I represented the school in Nairobi, 1970. 1972, I represented the Alliance Boys at Mzee Kenyatta's home at Gatundu, because the winners were being sent to go and entertain Mzee. I did, and I represented the school. 1974, 78, as a student, I represented my colleagues from pharmacy as a choir member at St. Paul's Church at the main campus. And of course, 1985 to 2004, I was a very good choir member in Migori, a choir called St. Joseph Migori. So I had another career which was running along with pharmacy and athletics. I had another issue which was related to my being a student. When I was a student in the School of Pharmacy, myself, Kerongo, and Dr. Kibunguchi, we were running film shows for our students in the lecture theaters here. We kept people entertained. Of course, in pharmacy practice, as I said, I have been in it since 1978 when I finished my internship and was appointed to go to Muranga. When I went to Muranga as a district pharmacist, I worked so hard. I used to wake up Dr. Omondi Jure in Embu. I tell him I need urgent medicines. And I worked so hard that I I fulfilled Mzee Kenyatta's wish, because Mzee Kenyatta wanted the pharmacy school to start because he had seen non-Africans in our streets when he was buying his medicine. That's why he asked Professor Mungai to start the course. And therefore, when I worked in Muranga, I worked without control. I was controlling myself. I worked very hard, and I was actually promoted to be the deputy chief pharmacist in 1980-81. We were with Dr. Kioi as the deputist Madenge.
So, Daktari, as you continue giving us your memory laying down the track, we'd like to move to the next question.
Yes.
On what role have you played in terms of expanding the scope of pharmacy practice in Kenya?
Very good. As a as a practicing pharmacist, I have mentored many interns all those years, whether in retail, whether in wholesale, or in industry, which I worked in my later years. I would say I have mentored many pharmacists who are all over the country. I also I've contributed by teaching at middle level. I taught at Nyabondo MTC for 6 years, and we started a similar diploma course in Kisii University, which has now transitioned to a bachelor's program. We were the initial people, myself and Dr. Monda are the ones who started the program, which has now become the bachelor's program in Kisii University. The other bit I can say about having been in all those 4 areas, as you can hear, is that I'm a father, I'm a grandfather. I have 2 families. My first family, we have got two boys and 2 girls. All of them are graduates. The minimum is a graduate, of course. One is a gynecologist. And the 2 girls that I have in that family are all PhD. Both of them are PhD, and they are lecturing. One in Egerton, one in JKUAT. I have a second family where I have quite young children. My first child is in School of Law. I mean, doing law in 3rd year now. And my youngest daughter is 3 years. Having 9 children, is not a joke.
Absolutely,
My
Daktari.
father had 16 of us by one mother, and so kind of it has been a challenge. All of us, except my father who passed in 2011, and the 3rd born in that family who died after 2 years, the rest of us are all around. So I am used to having a large family around me.
So, Daktari,
as I finish.
before you finish,
before
what
I
has
finish.
been your most memorable turning point in terms of your career?
Had quite many turning points. I wish it was only one, but there have been a series of turning points. In 1978, when we were launching NUPSA, I was destined to be the chairman of NUPSA because I was the elder one, the first one to be Professor Wanta, you remember? We launched NUPSA, and then I asked my colleagues, why are you electing me to be the chairman when the other young man who you would like, who is going to be my deputy, it can take a longer time? And we agreed. They agreed with me. I said, no, let Kibwage be the chairman and I be the vice chairman. So the first vice chairman of NUPSA is this man. And I remember I stood at Taifa when we were celebrating with those external examiners who came. And that turning moment, I remember, I even told Dr. Chris Murungaru, give me that beer, ni enjoy kidogo, nionge vizuri. I told the external examiners, Professor Taki, among others, that I am so happy you have come to examine us and give us the lead, and we shall grow as a school. I can assure you, I, being a deputy chairman of NUPSA, which is now an association which is leading this celebration, we would like to see that moment when somebody from this university would come to be an external examiner at Ife University or any other university where these external examiners are coming from. Professor Wantai, haven't our people gone to those places? Haven't our people gone? So my dream was being fulfilled. So my most important time, as I can say, other than the Mexican experience where I had a challenge to win a medal under very difficult circumstances, was when I saw that now the School of Pharmacy is expanding the numbers. Those of us who went to practice early, it was painful that we were very few in between. Even the farm techs were not there. So when I noticed the University of Nairobi is now taking not the traditional 30 per year, and you abandoned the family planning program for pharmacy, and you started admitting more pharmacists, I said, thank God. Then recently, of course, it has been very tough for me because I later became jobless when farm techs were taking all jobs around, and more so, quacks actually were occupying everything. The worst moment was when I closed my pharmacy in Otawala last year because I could not afford the rent of 15,000 shillings because around me there were 3 quacks, not even a farm tech. And nobody could control them because they know when the drugs inspectors will come around. And they close so that you don't see even the customers. Customers know the pharmacies are closed. Well, I would like to go to my finishing point. On the leadership, other than NUPSA, I was also the deputy president of PSK, 2010, 2014. Again, it is me who would have campaigned to be the president, but a young man said he would like me to support him. I said, yes, I will support you. And Dr. Mwaniki became the president, and I became the deputy president for the next 10 years. By the way, my friends, while I was there as an old man, I insisted that that council buys a vehicle for PSK. And that car you used to see around, I'm the one who insisted that we buy that car so that we can move easily and do our things as PSK. I would like to see pharmacy growing to higher levels. I would like to see pharmacy, especially in industry, having not less than 4 pharmacists as the traditional the situation used to be. You remember when we were doing internship? I did my internship at Glaxo. We had 4 pharmacists, QC manager, QA manager, sales manager, and a company pharmacist. These days, or of late, we used to have 1 pharmacist in an industry, and you find so many other people who have done other courses are the ones who are sitting on our chairs. Surely, please, the regulator, try and help pharmacy, because pharmacy has got a lot to benefit by that space being expanded.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for allowing me to say something. Yeah. I would have wanted to say more, but the time has not allowed it. I'm so grateful. I was a classmate of somebody called Kirongo. We went with him to Cardinal Otunga for 4 years and then University of Nairobi for 5 years. The late JJ Omondi, we went with to Alliance for 2 years and then University for 5 years. I'm also feeling I miss somebody seriously who was my coach. He used to be called Lambert Mukoji, the lame man who you used to see. He was my coach. He used to come to the stadium and tell me, you are going to do so many laps. I'm the one who is timing you.
Thank you, Dr.
And the last one I would like to, the last one I would like to say about down memory lane was Mary Edith Ochieng. We were singing with her in the choir. Professor Wantai, thank you very much for inviting me. You are a great guy.
Yeah. So, Dr. we have a gala dinner in July. We shall endeavor to give you adequate time to give us a bit of history. let's switch to the online panelists. We now have Dr. Eunice Karaoke representing the class of 2020s, if I'm not wrong. Dr. Eunice, are you there? You can unmute your mic so that you get. So Dr. Eunice Karaoke was a valedictorian of the year of the class of 2020, University of Nairobi. She's currently serving as a fulfillment operations lead and superintendent pharmacist at Zipline, a global technology and logistics company that leverages autonomous drone technology to deliver vital medical supplies to remote and underserved communities. In this capacity, she leads a critical distribution hub in Kenya, which oversees end-to-end operations that support public health systems and ensures timely access to essential medicines. So she says she's deeply passionate about the youth empowerment, inclusivity leadership, and also issues of creating systems that drive equitable access to healthcare. She's honored to be part of today's panel to reflect on the 50-year journey. Welcome, Dr. Eunice Karaoke.
Thanks, Dr. Good afternoon, everyone. Please confirm that you can hear me clearly.
Yes, proceed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. As mentioned, my name is Dr. Eunice Karaoke. I'm a proud graduate of the University of Nairobi School of Pharmacy, class of 2020. I think what stands out for me is with the newer generation, that's the younger, pharmacists that we currently have. Our practice has heavily been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, and that has basically shifted how things currently work and look like. To echo what Sami Thuita mentioned, our current space is looking very different from what traditional spaces look like. And that means, unlike previous classes, you would find even our graduation was virtual, with only 2 students at the graduation square and the rest of us watched from home. So this was a bit strange, isolating moment for us, but it also marked the beginning of a journey filled with unpredictability, resilience, and discovery. So I'm happy to be part of this panel, and thank you so much.
Welcome, Dr. And as you've been practicing, you've already given your first challenge, even right from the graduation. What would you say has been your biggest obstacle or challenge, and what would you like to see happen in the pharmacy profession as we move into the future?
Oh, great. I think what stood out for me when we fully graduated was how the job market really changed. We saw different conglomerates leaving the space in Kenya and others coming in, which created a new space that pharmacists could dive into. So I remember after internship, I joined Zipline in late 2022 as a fulfillment operator, and it was a leap into the unknown. I mean, when you hear fulfillment operator, you really don't know what that means, just off the bat. And I could see that we were using drones to deliver blood, vaccines, and critical medicines to hospitals across the country. So I remember thinking, like, this is not what I pictured when I was studying pharmacology, compounding formulas. But looking back, that decision changed everything. Today, I lead the team, and that means we ensure timely, safe, and efficient delivery of these health products. So what excites me the most is the impact, where you see pharmacists contributing to saving of lives and also real stories that fuel the passion for what you do. So what I would say, let's say, would be a critical change that we need in the profession is something that has come up very strongly in this symposium, whereby we see the world is shifting. Health needs are evolving, technology is disrupting traditional systems, and we have opportunities that are emerging in like public health, health tech, policy, and even beyond. So I believe we should evolve with this and include maybe a bit more entrepreneurship, leadership, and systems thinking, and innovation in even our education, so that we prepare the pharmacists to be creators and not just implementers, to lead and not just to follow, like Dr. Gwantai mentioned yesterday.
Okay, so thank you so much, Dr. Eunice. We'll come back to you on your parting shot. We'd like then to move to our last panelists, presenting physically again from the room. We'll welcome Dr. Elizabeth Ogaja. She will give us more on her role in the practice of pharmacy in Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay, praise God. Praise God again. I'm really delighted to be here today, seeing former classmates, people who we struggled up the hills of Chiromo with, and even the younger, the most recent graduates or upcoming graduates of the School of Pharmacy. And I think this is a really honorable time for us, because I am one of what they call the pioneer, the 1970s, late 70s. We graduated, we joined with Professor Gwantai and Anna Indalo and Deborah and a couple of others. And I graduated with Professor Kibwage as my classmate. And it was an interesting time, you know, being in the 70s, because a lot of things were starting to change in the global health arena. And we were growing up, you know, you could say that we were people coming shortly after independence. You know, we had just taken over. President Uhuru's late father was the president at the time that we joined. And there was a lot of optimism, I would say, when we joined. And that was very exciting. And I had the unique privilege of growing up in an academic environment. I don't know how many of you in this room have lived with a professor as a parent. I think maybe Eric might know what I'm talking about. You have this big beacon in front of you, and that is the, you know, the sort of standard that you have to follow. My father was a late Professor Ominde, and the professors, there are some who are described as scholars. As a child, I didn't even know what that was, but I know it was something big, and I had to aspire to something that at that time. And my interest in pharmacy was not by design. I think everything, I call myself the accidental pharmacist. And I'll explain what that means. You know, at our time, if you were good in sciences, it was automatically assumed you're going to study medicine. And my first experience in biology class in fifth form, dissecting those frogs, I decided this is not my thing. I don't want to study medicine. But I couldn't argue with parents who said that, you know, you're going to do this. But anyway, as I would say, God hears your prayers. So in 1974, there was an announcement that pharmacy school was going to start. I had already gotten a scholarship to go and study medicine in India. And I was just thinking, how am I going to get out of this? And then God answered my prayers, because I found my name on the list of pharmacy students for first year in 1974. And my passion for chemistry started very early in life. My father had bought me a chemistry set, and I used to do experiments in the backyard. It's amazing I didn't blow the whole house up, but that was you know, the thing that interested me. So anyway, I got into pharmacy school and met all kinds of very interesting people. And then some of the lecturers, there's one particular one I remember, I think maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. He was teaching us biochemistry, Professor Sartorelli. You remember? Yeah, who had a very thick Italian accent. And you can imagine trying to learn biochemistry with somebody with a thick Italian accent. It was quite an interesting experience. But anyway, somehow we managed. And my memory of those first couple of years, we didn't have everything in one place like you do now. We would run from main campus to Chiromo, back to the box, get the bus, go to Kenyatta. So it was quite, a lot of running around for us. And we were also taking our course at a time when there was a lot of political upheaval in the student body. So and our course was full from 9 to 5, we were in class. And what we call the penguins, because these are our colleagues who used to study arts, and their books were published by Penguin Company. So we used to call them the penguins. And we'd arrive from our classes, 9 to 5, and find there had been a battle all day with tear gas, especially those of us who lived in Hall 3. So we learned, and our student colleagues would now show us, don't go there. The tear gas is over there, so we'd have to be guided. And so it was quite an exciting time. But anyway, we managed to get through school. But one of the things we found when we came up here in Kenyatta, first and foremost, we were still getting sort of a place to have classes. And that, what is now the post office, was actually a mortuary. So you could smell the formalin on one side, and we are in class on the other side. But it was a time of adventure, so we just took it in our stride. But I remember one particular lecturer, a colleague of mine, a classmate of mine, was given -100 for practical. We wondered, why was he given -100? And he was told by the professor, you killed the patient. Watkins, he would make deliberate mistakes in the prescription, and if you didn't spot the mistake and you dispensed as is, that's exactly how he said, I want to make the point that if you're not careful, what you read on a prescription, your patient will die. And so that was one of the memories that I remember. I really paid attention in class after that.
So, Daktari, beyond the training into practice, looking through your CV, you've largely practiced within the public sector. Yes. So what would you say has been your experience so far?
Actually, for those who are the students, I would like to say that my practicing in the public sector was by choice. I could have gone to the private sector if I wanted to, and a lot of my classmates did. But there was something about public service that really attracted me. So when I started off, we were the pioneers. There was nobody else. I remember being posted to Siaya District Hospital, and I had a problem. And I asked, and then somebody said, but Daktari, you are the district pharmacist. You are the one who's supposed to come up with the solution. So I went back to my notes. I remember Professor Muriki's notes and other things to find the solution in my textbooks. So getting into the policy, no, that time I hadn't gotten into policy. I think I was into teaching. I was teaching at KMTC for a while. And then I was given a scholarship. I went to do my master's in pharmaceutical analysis at the University of Bath and came back. And I was posted back to teaching. And I was told, now you're in charge. You're a pharmacist tutored. And I had barely learned what I learned at the university, but I had to teach. And one of the I just want to summarize some of the opportunities that I had as a pharmacist. There are two challenges, one being a female pharmacist. Very few. Somebody wants to join us.
Please mute the online.
Yeah. First of all, women, we were very few pharmacists. I think in our class there were 10 against a class of 25. And so when we were given opportunities, you'd find that against our many colleagues, we would face certain challenges. But that didn't stop me. And I think these are some of the things I would call myself adventurous. I took up being in charge. I was posted as a pharmacist in charge of Daru at one time. And then having done my postgraduate in pharmaceutical analysis, became a project manager. And I was actually given the opportunity one time of being the director of NQCL, actually the architect of the National Quality Control Lab. If you see that little green, and one of the things I could say that I took advantage of, by the time I got married, my husband was, of course, a very good supporter, but I couldn't afford to pay a designer. So I made him design the logo for free. So you can see that we had the green cross, then we had a volumetric flask, and then the snake, which represents pharmacy. So that's how we designed that. And that's what is still there at the moment.
So, Daktari, having been the head of NQCL, you also transitioned to the chief pharmacist office at Afya House. So, what would you say was what was your role serving as the chief pharmacist?
Like I said, I'm an accidental pharmacist. I just found myself being called one time to Afya House and told, you are now the acting chief pharmacist. My predecessor, the late Soila Tisema, had gone to the US and decided to take her career in that direction, so she didn't come back home. So I found myself again dumped in at the deep end. It was not my plan to be the acting chief pharmacist. But I say this to the young pharmacists, sometimes you find yourself in a space where you really don't expect to be. But thing to do is, for those of us who are Christians, we use is it Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And that was my motto. So I found myself at the deep end at Afya House, now the head of policy. And there was a lot of change going on at the time. And I think one of the big things that I could say that I was really proud of, and I don't say I did it alone, because a lot of my colleagues, Dr. Wanyanga and many others, we worked together to now develop the national pharmaceutical policy. And in fact, we hoped that we were going to have a directorate of pharmaceutical services and all that. But life happens and sometimes things don't get done. But we were able to create it, and the Parliament actually approved it. We would have had a director of pharmaceutical services if the implementation plan had gone on. So that's one of the great things that I'm really proud of. And again, when I left the government service towards the end of my working career, I actually got into politics. I don't look like a politician. But again, an opportunity came up because the person who was the governor then, I was advising them on health policy issues. And he said, instead of coming and advising me, why did you come and do the job? And I thought this would be interesting because I had never been in that kind of environment before, but this was a chance to make a difference. So for 5 years, from 2013 to 2018, I was the CC for health in Kisumu County. And Daktari here, Charles, was also with me at the time. He was in Nyeri. Yeah, he was a CC for health in Nyeri. So there were 3 of us pharmacists who were CCs for health. Again, not by choice, by anything. We just found ourselves there and we made a difference. So this is something then I would also encourage any of you to do. If you find yourself in a place, just ask yourself, okay, I may not be experienced, this is new, but what can I do? And I can promise you, you will find something. The Almighty has put in that talent in each one of us, and we'll be able to do that. So, going for the future, things have changed a lot. We didn't, when I look at what the young pharmacists have at their fingertips now, there's no such thing as Google for us. You literally had to go to the library and find stuff out. But now you can Google stuff. And there's a lot of new things that have come up. The way I'm learning now that, things like AI and all of this technology is now coming in. And you can use that to improve the service that you give. So my encouragement to you, yes, some things have not worked out the way we would have liked them to. But right now, you can make a difference. Even if you are posted to the most remote part of this country, you can still make a difference. And we heard yesterday some of the people who were posted. I think somebody said she was posted to Turkana, and she made a huge difference in that place. You can all do that. So maybe the jobs may not be there the way you want them to be, but you can be the creator of your usefulness. And that's the one thing that I'd just like to leave you all with. See what you can do now with the policy directions, with the directions we'd like our profession to go. Globally, things are changing, but even locally, things are changing. What difference can you make? And then find the people to talk to. Even in the political environment, they're human beings. I can tell you that. They can be approached. And if you can show the value that you are going to add to service delivery and to life, I think that is what I would like to leave you all with. And just have fun in your profession. I think that's the last thing I'd like to say. Yes, things are tough, but have fun. Create enjoyment. And by the time you leave, like when you get to the stage of, if you like Dr. Nyariki, you've done your whole life and you're now walking towards the sunset. Just walk there saying, I had fun doing what I was doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Daktari. So we like to go back to Sami, give his parting shots. For the next 50 years, what would you like the profession to look like?
Again, if you're looking at the younger upcoming pharmacists, I think because of the change, and I know we are all easy to adapt, one of the areas that I'm seeing that we really need to engage in, beside just the online thing, the area of home care, for me, is a space that I don't see ourselves. I get so many calls to attend to people who are in their home setting, they're being taken care of by nurses, but our presence there is not felt. So can you look at that area and see how can we go into that space? As somebody said yesterday, even in the hospitals, medicines are at the top of what is being used in the hospital setting. I can tell you the same thing. When the nurses are also taking care of those people in the home care setting, we need our presence felt there. Can we have some partnership, something that we can put together that can be packaged for our generation that is being at home, those people? What can we do for them? I think that for me is my parting point.
Thank you, Daktari, for encouraging us to fill the gaps. Dr. Lucy Ochola.
Yes. Yes.
What's your parting shot as we move to the next 50 years pharmacy practice in Kenya?
Thank you very much. I think that it is imperative that in the next 50 years, when we hold such a forum, God willing, that we have to diversify the pharmacy profession. And what does this entail in my perspective? There is a big gap, especially in the hospitals, in the public sector, private as well, I'm sure, of a sort of specialized care, level of care of pharmacy professionals. If I'm to just give an example, currently where I practice, there is the potential of just being a pharmacist who specializes in diabetes care or hypertensive care. And this is a space that I think the medical professional has done so well. And I think the pharmacy needs to really improve on this space, because this is what will create the many job opportunities that the younger ones who are graduating, they keep on asking those who are on the ground, what do we do next? And sometimes, as much as it's a space that is unventured and you want to create your own, I think having a structured way as to which one can pursue that backs you up in terms of what you aspire to do on the ground will go a long way. So just embracing the change, diversifying our portfolio, allowing for venturing into different aspects of care, because we have a lot that we can offer, but we are still far from fully reaching our full potential. So I think that is my greatest need for pharmacy school, that we diversify and we grow our portfolio to different specializations. Thank you very much. And thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Eunice. Eunice, are you still there?
Yes, Doc.
Short.
Still on.
We close this session.
Okay, thank you so much. So I think as we reflect on the 50 years of the University of Nairobi pharmacy journey, one thing becomes very clear is that our profession has never stood still. And that means each decade represented here has brought new challenges, and each generation of pharmacists were able to rise up and meet them in some way. So I would say maybe to the young pharmacists who are either just coming out of school or in the process of finishing school, it's now our turn. And that means you're stepping into a field that's evolving faster than ever before. So that means this is where you'll find pharmacies meeting technology. We are very heavy in the public health space, global health systems, and quite a lot actually is happening. So even though the path ahead may be uncertain at times, you're not alone. You're part of a legacy of thinkers, trailblazers, and people who've contributed to form what the current reflection looks like. So it's our time to shape what the next 50 years will look like. And that means we need to believe in our contribution, we need to own our space, and the future of pharmacy in Kenya and basically beyond will need our bold ideas and our fresh energy. So keep at it and don't lose hope. Thank you.
Asante. And last but not least, Samuel. Oh, sorry. Eric.
I have a parting shot. It is brief. Our challenges in industry are unsurmountable. I don't know how to call them. Unsurmountable. Hello, are you hearing me? Thank you very much. I am saying that we have a growing pharmaceutical industry, especially in production. We have that challenge that quite a number of our leaving students from the universities are not keen on going to industry. They go first to hospitals and to pharmacies. They come to industry, some of them very late. We need to expand that scope. Right now, if you go to industries in India, you will find a factory having 10 PhD holders, let alone the other ranks within the industry. So let us get some people going to pharmaceutical industry. I am currently working in a pharmaceutical firm. I hardly find anybody coming to look for even internship, even attachment in some of those industries. They are only, after they have been sent by the PPB for the initial internship, some people just go, they go looking for jobs elsewhere. They don't even come to industries. Please let us go to that. Also, the African continent is expanding. I was in Sierra Leone for about 1 year, overseeing a construction of a clean room for manufacture of infusions. This was sent by some friends from US who asked me to want to supervise that. African countries, quite a number of them, do not have good pharmaceutical industry. Kenyans, please let us go to our neighbors and even go to far west and find if we can get areas where we can expand our practice. Thank you very much. And of course, the other thing is, if you are a young person, please keep yourself fit. I am remaining this way because I'm keeping myself fit.
Yes, my parting shot is especially for our younger colleagues is to really look at what difference can you make anywhere. Yes, life is a bit tough at the moment and things are not working as well as we'd like him to. But still, you have been given so much by the lecturers here that you can make a difference. The thing to do is maybe do some research and find out what difference can you make. We have 47 counties. They're not identical. You can always make a difference there. And then to our colleagues and my colleague lecturers as well. We created the Kenya National Pharmaceutical Policy in 2012, and I believe there's some review process going on. Can we complete that process so that we now create a new context for all of us, those of us who are teaching, those of us who are about to graduate, and we can see for the next 50 years, what difference are we going to make with what we've already created in the first 50 years of the life of University of Nairobi? Thank you.
Thank you, all the panelists. Thank you, all the online and the physical attendees. We'd like to bring this to a close. I know we had been given. Okay, Prof. Yeah. Yes, Prof.
I think you have heard a lot about, down the memory lane and the things that have happened. I just wish to mention one or two things that still stuck in my mind. And down the memory lane, I believe my colleagues will remember. We were being taught under chemistry, thermodynamics. Okay? What was the name of that, Muindi? What was his name? Yes. And there was another one who came to class with a laptop. Okay? Those years. We didn't know about the technology. And when he started giving the lecture, you know, you had the slides like we have now. Okay? So it was, and you know, the thermodynamics is about equations and what have you, so complex. So he started running down the slides, one after the other, and we were very upset, very upset. And I remember Kerongo Kosire, you know, he was so furious. He walked up across the floor and pulled out the plugs. And the lecture ended. And the lecture ended like that, yeah? So I still remember that one because it was so dramatic in class. He just pulled out the plugs and he told them, we can go now back to class. Okay. And then the other one I remember vividly is about, it was mentioned about the issues of upheavals, government upheavals. I remember this time when we had on the police, you know, there was a lot of fracas, and we came with a bus from Chiromo, and we landed at the hall 3, okay? And as we were alighting, we were told, you are not going into the halls, you know, because the whole place was blocked, you know? For me, that time I was actually expectant. And there, so when we came out of the bus, we couldn't go to the halls. That's where we were residing. And the police now were running behind us because they realized this bus is offloading university students and we don't know what chaos they are going to cause. So they started running after us, you know. I ran down, I ran down the road up to Nyerere Road. I went to this road, Valley Road, you know. I boarded a bus. I didn't know where it was going, you know, because I was running away from police. I boarded a bus. I ended up at Isli, and it was at night. Okay. Okay, so those are memories you cannot erase from your mind. Then the last one is that, you know, for microbiology, particularly virology, we didn't have a place where we could be taught. We used to be taken to Kabete. You remember? You know, Kabete, virology. That's where we used to have our lectures, you know, virology. And for the experiments, we used to be taught how to conduct experiments on how to prepare vaccines. And we will be taken also to public health labs, you know, to do experiments on how to inoculate eggs, you know, make vaccines, how to inoculate rabbits. And so I think the training of pharmacy has really evolved over time. For us, as pioneers, we really suffered, you know. If we were to be given time, we can spend 3 hours telling you what we went through. But all in all, we pulled out and we are here, strong and upright. Thank you.
Prof, as part of that memory, I don't know whether you remember the students of pharmacy striking and taking over the principal's office, Professor Kitoni. Yeah, so it was one way of the students agitating for reforms, and I think through that agitation, we got the School of Pharmacy got a bus or a minibus.
Particularly, we are very much concerned about the exposure of our students to trips, exposure trips, and particularly pharmacognosy, because we wanted them to go for field visits, look at botanical gardens and what have you. So we were very focused. We wanted to have a bus of our own, okay? The university told us that all the transport vehicles belong to the main campus, the transport department. So I told them, as long as you can give us a bus, I have no problem. So I was told, can you go to CMC and identify the size of a bus that you need? So we went there, and I think we got, was it a 20-seat or a 6-seat? I think it's around that. It was relatively big, yeah? So I went there and chose a bus. Now, when the bus was being painted, the colors of the university, I told them, before you release this bus, I have to be there. So I traveled all the way to CMC, and I told them, this bus, I know it is university bus, but remember, it is the Faculty of Pharmacy. We were faculty then. It's the Faculty of Pharmacy that has demanded to have a bus. So can you have it imprinted with the Faculty of Pharmacy? You remember it used to have Faculty of Pharmacy on the window. Okay. I was told this is against the university regulations because all transport belongs to the central administration. I told them I've not committed any crime because Faculty of Pharmacy is part of the university anyway. So what crime is there? Can we have it imprinted there? So I insisted until it was done. So when the bus, so again, when the bus was released, I said it will not be staying at the main campus. The bus was actually being parked here at the College of Health Sciences, if you remember, so that we can get access to it. In addition, I said it must have an independent driver, and that driver should be answerable to the dean of the not the transport manager. You remember we used to have and all the drivers would report to the School of Pharmacy so that they can be advised on how to manage that vehicle. I don't know what is happening now, but that was the kind of force that we had to make sure that the Faculty of Pharmacy has an identity, a corporate identity within the University of Nairobi. Thank you.
Wow. I think we'll put this to a stop. And maybe as a follow-up to the issue which came up on Thursday, I'm reliably informed that the students' exams are in the process of being released. I don't know about it. But you see, it took an action of those students to come here and voice out their concerns. So sometimes stepping up and fighting for your rights helps a lot. So with those many remarks, we'd like to finish this or close up this session. We'll break for lunch. Maybe Dr. Mwangi will give us more details on the lunch and the afternoon session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Anyona and the team, can we appreciate them? You managed time very well. Actually, you took more time than allocated, but we consulted with Professor Guantai and agreed that instead of stopping you, we speak to others. Our team in the US who are supposed to join us at 2 p.m. We have consulted with them, and we will have that sessions from 2:30. Because now it's not possible to have it at 2. That is why Professor Kwantai was motivated to come and also share something. And I also feel like, I don't know whether the Schrödinger equation is still studied. Do you remember the Schrödinger equation? The one that you'd write all, and at the end you are trying to say the energy of a particle in a box is 0 in chemistry. Is it still there? And I was wondering, I came to study pharmacy. How does this apply? Very interesting. And also, I was in the class of 1987. There was so much order in the pharmaceutical industry then. So much order. So that when we graduated, I worked for E.T. Mox and Company Limited, which was one of the biggest chain. The pharmacy was in Corner House. And I used to do 150 prescriptions per day. And I was so passionate to keep the ethics that I will not, no prescription will be handled by anybody else. And I became, by the time I was going home, I was so tired. After 8 months, I wanted to retire. But there was order in the industry. All multinationals had a manufacturing facility in Kenya. Many of them. Today, none has a manufacturing facility in Kenya. So even as students, I remember when Glaxo was setting up the Zantac plant, which was a state-of-the-art. We were able to be exposed to the best in the world. But all that, 1994, I remember, I was in Kapi, I was a leader. We spent 6 months shuttling between the Ministry of Health and Treasury because they had introduced tax on raw materials, excipients. And while when you import a fully finished drug, it was 0 rated. And we remember pleading that people are going to lose jobs, but the government did not listen. So after that, the dawas, the medicines I was manufacturing here in the company I was working for, we had taken 30% of Glaxo capacity, no, 40, 30% of dawa. The following year, I was told by my boss in Europe, it doesn't make sense. You can import from Pakistan, from South Africa. So that capacity went down and people lost jobs. And the same mess has continued to the extent that all the manufacturing multinationals left. I know there was a conversation here earlier about how you go and register a product. And Pharmacy and Pensions Board process is long. You pay the registration, you wait, you pay medical reps, and then somebody else, just in the name of parallel importation, brings the drug. No medical rep, no nothing. That's where the multinationals have gone. And I was seeing this week or last week a battle pitting some of our pharmacists against some of our other pharmacists. And I saw the stories. And I remember I was chairman of CAPI for 7 years when the parallel importation story was coming. When we realized that we cannot prevent the river from flowing, we said, okay, PPB. And then now coming up KPD, can we sit together and develop guidelines? And we worked on guidelines. I saw the battle, which is now going on. And I told the fellows who are fighting, history repeats itself. Now, what you are fighting, Kapi is moribund now. I can confidently say Kapi is moribund because those industries are not here. So now KPDA is crying fall. If we don't sort out the mess, another 10 years, it will be another battle. Is that the way we want to go? I'm going memory lane, organized industry, where a pharmacy was run by a pharmacist, to where now my brother here, Dr. Nyariki, had to close his pharmacy. So we have come from order to near disorder, but still pharmacists are so agile. We are able to find space. And the young people don't give up their many spaces. That's how the likes of Mueda and others have found, and Sagoa and others, they have found, and still a lot of space which we cannot fill. And therefore, Aluta continua. As we come to a close, don't be tired of my caps. I want, yes, you can now see, I'm now talking to people online. Even you are here. You want a mug, you pay. A mug is 1,000, round neck is 1,000, t-shirt, and they come in 3 colors, white, maroon, and blue. And you pay into the account of Alumni. It's written there. Once you pay, our NUPSA chairman, Collins, that number you set to Collins, you can set evidence to Collins, and he will coordinate with the school and will send you boda. Sidio, it will be delivered to you by boda, where utalipa tu boda. So you who is online, place your order. We will have this delivered, and these are souvenirs. If you go through all this and you don't have any of this, were you there when we celebrated the Golden Jubilee? Were you there? This will remind you. The mark and the shirt will remind you. It's very well done, very nice. A lifelong board. A lifelong board with the logo. Please, we had the faith that all this will go. And I really do not. They will go, eh? And you can buy more than one. And lastly, this will help us fund some of the activities of the Golden Jubilee. And just to say, we have a gala dinner on 1st of August. Please book it up. We'll tell you where it will be. Gala dinner. During the gala dinner, we shall honor number 1, 2, and 3. And some forms have been sent around to the different groups by Dr. Sarah Fugigi's committee. Please respond. Nominate somebody in the sector requested so that we can have the privilege to honor people who have contributed, even those who may have left us and gone to another world, but they played a big role in the sector you are in. Nominate them. We shall also launch the history book, including some of the things we are saying here, and the Alumni Association constitution that will guide us. If all wishes were horses, beggars would. If you could be generous, we had hoped that in the month of June sometime, we can have a 1 hour in a national media. 1 hour. Where some of the things we are sharing here, we can now also share them to the rest of the world through the national media and all its adjuvants. But we will need to raise 500,000 shillings. So be generous. after the symposium, PSK symposium, towards the end of June, we would be able to do that. Some of the conversations that we have had here, and they would help some of our young people who are in high school to help make a decision. We had also hoped that some of us would go to the schools we went to and do career talks. Still do so. When you do, let us know. And that would still be, it's still part of our journey. And with that, it's time for lunch. Dr. Theta, come and pray for lunch. It's time for lunch, and all of you have vouchers. All of you who are here in the morning, you have vouchers. If you don't have a voucher, today we are in the mood of being generous. Because some of you have, the announcements I've made here, some people have sent some money into our account, and we are happy. That is how even we will have a cocktail. We will have a cocktail because some people have been generous. Please be generous. Just go into that account and give us a donation. And because of that, if you don't have a voucher, I think we are here. There will be lunch for all of us. All of us who are here, we go for lunch. May I request you to stand? My brother, Sam Theta here, will pray for lunch.
Very quickly before we pray, when you hear this title, doctor, for the pharmacists, another fight, she's talked about the bus. Professor Guantai, we can never thank you enough. This was a fight like no other. During our year, for us to get that title, we are grateful, and I think we need to give her a clap again because she really fought for the Senate to agree that pharmacists can be called doctors. It is to her credit. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for the sessions that we had today. Even as we are coming to the close of this symposium, we are grateful for this, Father, that you brought us as we go for lunch. Bless it even as we take it to refresh our bodies and our minds. For this we pray shortly in Jesus' name. Amen.